Hello and welcome to Nonprofit Times TV. I'm Randall Mauricio.
And I'm Tamara Furlansky. NPT TV is the latest offering from the Nonprofit Times, the leading business publication for nonprofit management.
Every 2 weeks, we will bring you the latest news, information, and feature stories from the nonprofit sector.
And here are some of the stories we have for you today.
Which is the most generous nation on the planet?
Brother, can you spare a minute? A look at micro-volunteering.
And in our feature story, exclusive and surprising results from the Nonprofit Times study on wills and leaving money to charity.
This webcast is brought to you by Fine Line Solutions, your multi-channel inbound fundraising contact center.
It's a tie. Australia and New Zealand are in a dead heat as the most generous nations on Earth. The U.S. ranked a respectable 6th of the 153 countries studied. Among the least charitable are two of the world's fastest growing economies, China and India. The study conducted by the Charities Aid Foundation in the United Kingdom looked at the percentage of each nation's population who made charitable donations, volunteered in the month prior to the survey, and the percentage who helped out a stranger in the past month. Australia and New Zealand both received average scores of 57. Ireland and Canada scored 56, followed by Switzerland at 55. The U.S. ranking of 6th scored 55. Rounding out the top ranking countries are the Netherlands, UK, Sri Lanka, and Austria. Near the bottom of the list, India ranks 134th and China came in at number 147. The lowest nations listed with a score of 12 are Burundi and Madagascar.
The U.S. Senate has rejected 2 amendments designed to modify new reporting requirements for Tax Form 1099. The amendment to repeal the new requirements was rejected by a 52 to 46 vote. And another amendment to raise the reporting threshold from $600 to $5,000 while exempting companies with less than 25 employees was also defeated. The Center for Association Leadership says a similar bill has now been introduced and includes the $5,000 threshold, but not the exemptions. The Internal Revenue Service is taking public comment on the change in the law until September 29.
After this 20-second break, we look at the growing trend of micro-volunteering. Investments by health groups returned an average of 18.8% despite a rocky ride in the stock market, according to the Common Fund's benchmark study of healthcare organizations. The study looked at the fiscal year 2009 average total return on investable assets for 85 nonprofit healthcare organizations. This is the highest return in the 8 years the study has been conducted and follows the poorest return last year. The 85 participants represent $76.8 billion in investable assets and $26.8 billion in defined benefit plan assets as of December 31st, 2009. Investable assets include endowment foundation funds, funded depreciation, working capital, and other separately treated assets.
Brother, can you spare a dime? Might be evolving into can you spare a minute? The concept of micro-volunteering is starting to gain strength. Donors can contribute in minutes or even seconds, and the results can be impressive. Singapore-based First Aid Corps is using crowdsourcing techniques to save lives. Realizing the survival rate from sudden cardiac arrest is low, they teamed up with the Extraordinaries, a social business platform in San Francisco, to develop an online list of public automatic external defibrillators, or AEDs. They asked people worldwide to send in photos, location descriptions, and GPS coordinates of AEDs. Jacob Kolker, CEO of the Extraordinaries, says, "We have hundreds of billions of hours of spare time, but it comes in 20 or 30-minute spurts. If there were more opportunities for people to volunteer through an introduction of something like micro-volunteering, maybe they will come back."
A staggering 71% of American adults either don't have a will or have left nothing to charity if a will has been made.
Just 21% of Americans have a will and have left money to charity, according to an exclusive national survey for the nonprofit Times by Opinion Research Corporation.
That 71% is up significantly from just over 3 years ago, when some 52% of respondents either didn't have a will or left nothing to charity. This could mean charities are being removed from wills after being written into them. Bequest giving made up $23.8 billion during 2009.
Some 93% of Hispanics, 80% of African Americans, and 60% of Caucasians either have no will or have bequested nothing to charity if they have a will. Women are more likely than men to leave to charity. However, men are more likely to actually have a will.
Education and wealth has an impact on the likelihood respondents have a will, but that might be a small number of fish in a large ocean. According to the federal statistics, only roughly 28% of Americans have a college degree. According to the data, some 29% of those who said they were college graduates claimed a will, as well as 35% of respondents reporting annual income of $100,000 or more. Adrian Sargent, a professor at the Center on Philanthropy at Indiana University, says while education and wealth are indicators of bequest potential, the actual gift is a matter of who is asked to give.
With a shaky economy, motivation to save rather than give is a first inclination. Frank Minton, a planned giving expert in Seattle and a senior consultant to PG Calc in Cambridge, Massachusetts, says the majority of people, unless they have large estates, are inclined to leave their estates to heirs, first to the surviving spouse and then to children and grandchildren. You will note that those without children are far more likely to leave a charitable bequest.
Everybody's out of money, says Clara Miller, president and CEO of the Nonprofit Finance Fund in New York. She says this might especially be true for older donors who are seeing their whole retirement flash before their eyes.
Frank Minton also says that except for the quite wealthy, a charitable bequest doesn't result in very much estate tax savings and doesn't believe most bequests are tax motivated. For those who have a will or made room for charity in their wills, it is most likely that there was some type of involvement with the organization, such as volunteering, according to the Nonprofit Times data.
Survey respondents were a nationally projectable sample of adults 18 years or older, and you can view the full results at nptimes.com beginning October 1st.
According to Adrian Sargent, someone without a will dies on average at age 69. A person with a will averages 79 years, and those who have a will and include a legacy to charity, they'll average 82 years. It's a case of support to die for. In today's fundraising tip, Michael Brown, CEO and co-founder of City Year, shares how volunteerism can help solve problems.
All over America, people of all ages are coming forth to volunteer. I think it's endemic to the spirit of America. And in recent years, the millennial generation is really growing up with service in their lives. President Barack Obama has called on Americans to serve, and they've literally applied in droves to AmeriCorps. Our own program has seen a tripling of the number of young people applying to serve. It's my great hope that Americans all across the country will find a way to get involved and make a difference. You're needed. You're needed in America's schools, in America's communities. There's organizations like City Year, AmeriCorps, as well as just getting involved through your local United Way and the many other organizations that are engaging volunteers. American citizens can literally solve America's problems if we get involved.
Thank you for tuning in today. We'll be back in 2 weeks with our next webcast.
Until then, you can leave your comments about this webcast or a specific story for us right below this video player.
And we'll see you next time.